Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Now Review. And for this one we're going to be doing something a bit special. We're going to be doing a triple review of many of the 80s themed albums. So we're going to be looking at Now That's What I Call the 80s, Now That's What I Call 80s Dance, and Now That's What I Call 80s Party. Now for anyone who doesn't know, with the 60s being second, the 80s is by far my favourite decade in music. I know a lot of people say it's cheesy or it's very artificial, but I love all the synth stuff and the heavy beats and stuff like that. It's just a great decade in music in general. So, these three albums, you know, as an 80s fan, I'm trusting this will cover the 80s in quite a wide light, and hopefully, when we look at these, that's what we're going to get. So let's start with the main one here. So we'll start off with Now That's What I Call the 80s. So here's a look at the cover. As you can see, there's like some colourful blocks in the background, I guess a bit Rubik's Cube-esque, and yeah, this is a nice cover. I think maybe it could be a bit better to stimulate the 80s, but you know, it's not bad. And I believe this isn't the first issue of the album either. There's the spine for you. And if we just have a look on the back, if I don't drop the damn thing, here is CD1. It's like Queen, David Bowie, Michael Jackson, ABBA, The Police, The Jam, Madness. Look at all these artists. This is the great thing I love about the 80s. There's so many iconic songs here, and there's some great ones that I didn't know too much about, but now I really like ABC's The Look of Love is brilliant. Soft Cell's Tainted Love, what a song there. You know, there's just some great tunes on here. And then let's go to CD2. Lionel Richie, Whitney Houston, Diana Ross. Again, just so many fantastic artists. And this spans so much of the decade. You got things from like Bros or Bros, however they're pronounced. Rick Astley, Tiffany, Technotronic. And one of my favourite songs of all time, Black Box's Ride on Time. Such a good song. CD3, finally, George Michael, Billy Joel, so on and so forth. Just look at all this, guys. So many good songs here. So, overall you have about, I think it's near 60. You've got nearly 60 songs on here that just sum up this decade. Let's have a look at the packaging. So straight away when you open this, you've got the little advert here. Perfect gifts this Christmas. They have the Now Disney, Now 92, which was the most recent, Now Christmas, and Now Party anthems. Here is the first disc, again continuing with the block motif. Nice bright yellow and blue here. And you have equally bright colours for CD2 and CD3. So again, like the cover, maybe not the best theming for the 80s, but still nice, bright and colourful. So where did I pick this up? Well, I picked this up at HMV. It was again part of their 2 for $15 range, or you can buy them for £9 each. I'm sure you can get it in charity shops too if you're lucky, or a CEX. Favourite songs on here? Well, I mean, there's too many to count. I know about 90% of these going in, and it's just, this is one of, if not the best 80s compilation album I think I've ever owned. And as I'm a massive fan of the decade, I have many 80s albums. Some I inherited from my parents, some I've picked up myself, and you know, a lot of them have their key songs and stuff, but this is such a good package featuring a wide range of the biggest artists at the time and some truly fantastic songs. So I highly, highly recommend you get Now 80s. It's one of my favourite Now albums there ever is. Now moving swiftly on, let's go on to this one. Now That's What I Call 80s Dance. Now oddly enough, this came out before this version of the Now 80s. This came out in 2013, and straight with this cover I love that they've subtly incorporated the old Now motif of the 3 circles and the sort of yellow lightning bolt here. I just love this whole style, even a little triangle there, and in the background you've got some funky designs, like more 80s stuff, so I really love this cover, one of my favourites. Here's the spine, using a bit of shade in there on the font, so let's turn this over, and have a look at our 3 CDs. There you go, Ride on Time again, great song. Yes, now some of these do overlap into the Now 80s album, of course we're talking with the same decade, and some of them were obviously dance songs. Push It, that is such a great 80s dance song, Push It is amazing. Let's flick on back to CD2. Frankie Goes to Hollywood with Relax, again another fantastic song. Got Blondie and all that sort of stuff. There you go. And CD3. So yeah, there's again nearly about 60 songs on here, and it has a good mix. Now 80s dance is a really weird territory because there were a lot of dance songs, dance mixes. Some of them are really good, some of them have aged terribly I think, so maybe not the greatest Now album there is, but we'll take a look at the packaging first. So no adverts for albums. What I do like is they've basically removed the title, so you get a much better look at all these screens they've got here with all this sort of, well, I'm assuming they're going for like an 80s sort of style. Whether it is or not, some of it looks a bit dubious, but you know, I kind of like this whole motif. And there is CD1, and I love on these older CDs, this is C inlay for details, which will be the things behind the discs. Let's have a look at the other two. So CD2 is in a nice blue, and CD3 is in this nice orange. So there are your 3 discs for now, 80s dance. Simple, but effective. So favourite songs on here, well, I've already talked about Ride on Time and things like that, but one I did discover was, where is it? There, Colonel Abrams with Trapped. That is such a good dance song, I highly recommend you check that out. So who would I recommend this for? Well, I'd recommend it, yes, if you're a fan of the 80s music scene, but if you specifically are fans of 80s dance, like the kind of dance music that you saw on the track list and that you'll probably know yourself, then yeah, it's a worthy purchase. I was actually quite lucky. I found this in an Oxfam charity shop for £2.99. I believe it's going a bit more in CEX if you find it. I don't think you can buy this in HMV anymore. As I said, this came out in 2013, and now, of course, with each new album that comes out, they discontinue an old one. So if you can find it, it's definitely worth picking up if you're a fan of this specific era and genre. Now finally, let's have a look at Now That's What I Call 80s Party. So at first I was quite worried because party, you could argue, is similar to dance and there might be a lot of overflow, but what I do like is this cover. I really like the whole purple yellow thing they've got going on and the swirling glasses. It feels very 80s, if that makes sense. And there's the spine again with purple and yellow. Now this came out in 2017, so it's the most recent of the 3. So look, yeah, so Queen, Michael Jackson, and what you'll notice is there'll be some artists here who have appeared on the standard 80s one, but what they've cleverly done here is they've picked different songs, which I'm really glad. So for the Michael Jackson example, on the 80s one over there, it's Billie Jean. Here it's The Way You Make Me Feel, definitely a more party song, I think. And yeah, you've got some more obscure ones like M with pop music and Falco with Rock Me Amadeus. Here's CD2, again a lot more familiar ones from Whitney Houston, Chaka Khan, The Culture Club. A lot more popular 80s songs on this one. And finally with CD3, just slowly scan down there, more classics, Cameo with Word Up, of course, Madness, etc, etc. Now, at the time of my life, is that really a party song? Who knows? But yeah, those are the 3 discs there with all the songs, so let's have a look at the packaging. And like a lot of the new ones, it's advertising the home of hit music in your pocket, which is of course the Now Music app. There is the first disc, all nice and navy blue. There is CD2 and CD3 rocking the same motif. So, you know, a more uniform look for these CDs, but still, I like this scheme. So overall, what is my favourite song on 80s Party? Well, that is actually a very good question. I'll tell you what, where is it? I do love Bronski Beat with Small Town Boy. That's such a good song, and of course the main riff of it is so recognisable, it's been covered a multitude of times. So I picked this up from HMV again, part of the 2 for £15 range. It is quite new. It was released towards the end of 2017, so you'll still be able to pick it up new for quite a while, but you probably can find it in, you know, second-hand stores, charity shops, etc. I would recommend this. I'd say this is a better album than 80s Dance, because this has more recognisable hits, I think, whereas this, great as it is for its genre, it does focus on the dance scene, which is what it's intended to do. This has a mix, I think, it essentially has a mix of these 2 albums put into this, so it's not completely a pointless album as some people do think. So overall, I mean, this is a perfect set. I mean, if you're not a true fan, if you're a huge fan of the 80s and you like all facets of it like I do, then owning all 3 of these is an essential part of your Now collection. It really is, because you've got the main classics, you've got the dance scene, and you've got a mix of the 2, with most of them being different. Yes, not all of the 60 tracks on each album is unique, some of them do overlap. Having said that, with what you're getting for the money you'll spend, it's definitely worth the price. However, if you just like the main 80s hits and you're not maybe a big fan of the dance scene, or you want the party stuff, then just stick with Now That's What I Call the 80s. But as I said, if you want something more diverse and you want a full scope of the decade, then I'd definitely pick up these 3 albums. And that's pretty much it for this episode of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. Go and pick up these albums if you love the 80s. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next one, I will see you all next time.
Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Jen Samantha Pringle, Brittany Fan 1999, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry Holt, The Welsh Lady, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, and Cooking at Nans and DIY, our AMTV staff members.